Hello my loves, happy Friday. I'm a bit late at the traps today. I've done a few bits and pieces this morning that took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So here I am, it is now Friday afternoon rather than the morning. I was going to wait until tomorrow, but then I had a look at the weather, and although there is a part of me that does like sitting outside in the rain, it's looking a little bit on the grim side. So I'm going to be doing this right now. And today's a good day because we have Saturn going direct. I think Saturn went direct yesterday, and we have got Mercury going direct tomorrow, 29th, and already I can feel a difference in the frequencies. Like it's almost like somebody has taken the top off the shaken Coke bottle, and long may it last, because it has been a very intensive month. And Diana and I were talking about this in Hamburg when we were there last weekend. I can't believe it was a week ago that I did my update in the freezy cold Hamburg Park, wondering why everybody was running around without wearing any gloves. But yeah, and still, I don't go out running without gloves on, not even in this weather. I've got delicate little fingers. So what's going on with the energies at the moment? It's feeling like there is a forward movement at last. So if you think about energetically what we've been doing, what we've been processing, the entire the whole year of the snake thing, the shedding of the skins, the repetitive cycles, Saturn revisiting or retrograding back into Pisces, that's been a big one. And I think regardless of what, I mean, I'm no astrology expert, but I am acutely aware of the different positions and settings and retrogrades and the things that really affect us. And I know that one was big because it has been deeply affecting me on a personal level, on a structural level. Every single thing that has been occurring in the last, particularly in the last 2-3 years or so, has been because of these incredibly intensive revisiting the old. And we know how Saturn likes to operate, likes to go through your books and just uncover everything that you don't want to look at, that you don't want to feel, that you don't want to acknowledge. And so that goes in complete alignment with the shedding of the skins. We can't walk through this, as I was saying before, we can't walk through these gateways without having the burdens that we carried at birth and onwards left, but they have to be processed first. There used to be a part of me that thought that, you peck me, madam. There used to be a part of me that used to think that because we're using high frequency energies, because we're in alignment with the angels, with the path of the light, that maybe the shadow stuff could be averted and that we could navigate around it. And many years later, and a bit kind of like wiser and longer in the tooth, I realised that's not the objective. The objective is to feel like a human being. A lot of us have not been feeling. We're born into an unfeeling world, into a world that is designed to starch out your emotions, who you are, funnel you into various categories and sort of almost like a filing system. That one for that person goes there, and all of these other different scenarios that have occurred over the course of our lives, and depending on the karmic pathway that we chose, some of those lives have been quite eventful, and some have been downright bloody difficult right up until this point. And now I feel that the gateways are opening. And it's not necessarily going to mean that things are going to be any easier. I think that we are going to be still witnessing this incredible cycle of change that we've got going on around us. Think about next year, what the energy of the forward moving fire horse means. It means that you've got to catch your ride and you've got to gallop at full speed. I mean, the horse doesn't trot along eating mouthfuls of grass. That fire horse goes full tilt. And the lighter you are, if you another analogy here, if you think about how, say, a horse race occurs, the jockeys are as light as possible, aren't they, to provide as much speed and as little damage to the back of the horse as possible. And that's very similar to us. We've lightened and unburdened our loads as much as we possibly can in order to walk through. The next phase is the 12-12, and the 12-12 is, of course, the gateway that begins the downloading of the Christ light. And this year, physically, we're ready for it. Last year, we weren't, and it was a very processy process, wasn't it? Lots of ill people and yeah, just general high levels of discomfort. But again, there's always a method to the circumstances that we're going through. And if we need to drop density quickly, then we will drop density quickly, and there's no amount of moaning that's going to change that. Once that light comes in, once it flushes through our fields, once it is integrated via the antakarana bridge and our chakra system, and then therefore into the cells of the body, the process becomes distinctly physical. It affects our nervous system, it affects our meridians, it affects our chakras, affects the cells of our body, right down to the DNA. And it is the DNA that's undergoing the intensive transformation at the moment. One of the facets that Diana Cooper has brought through at the moment is the activation of the template of the crystalline energy within us. We're working with the crystalline brain, the crystalline heart, the crystalline eyes. There'll be information about this coming out very, very soon. But for the event, for the workshop, it was really quite incredible to begin to see where this is going. Now, I'm going to touch a little bit on this because I think there's over the years I've heard some kind of quite fanciful ideas around what becoming crystalline is. We're not going to wake up tomorrow made of the same material that my crystal skull is. Okay, we're human beings. We occupy an Adam Kadmon blueprint: 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 head, hopefully, 2 eyes, and that's the blueprint, or the gold print now, that we have chosen to occupy. That's our body. Our body is undergoing rigorous metamorphosis at this moment in time, but it's more of an internal process. It reminds me a little bit of running before we can walk. So the physical body, your physical body, my physical body, everybody else that lives on this planet was born into the 3rd dimension, unless you were born after 2012. If you're born after 2012, you have significant differences in the way that you have come through energetically. But for the rest of us, those of you that are probably listening and tuning into this, we are almost forcing our body to do what it is designed and supposed to do, but has been taught to do otherwise. So the 3rd dimension, or at least the latter passage through the 3rd dimension, has very much been an experience about being born into a hostile and a toxic world. Everything goes against the human body: the food, the medicine, the way that cultures operate, religion. Everything has basically stressed this beautiful unit out to the point where it's beginning to live for 80 years, 90 years if you're lucky. The human body is actually designed, believe it or not, to live for 300 years. And imagine that. Imagine toddling around for 300 years. I mean, people do go 100 plus quite regularly and easily, but they're kind of regarded as unique. In the UK or in England, you used to get a letter from the Queen once you hit 100 years old. You used to get your well done, you've done 100 years, love your majesty, and then that would pretty much be it and all about it. But imagine, if you will, having the capacity and the opportunity to live a lot longer, not just say to 150 years or to 200 years, but to 300 years old. And that is fulfilling the design cycle of an optimum and healthy, preserved, well looked after, loved and nourished human body. And that goes in alignment with the activation of the crystalline aspect. Crystalline, for the time being, to me personally, leads towards the actual our vibration. Like I said, we're not going to wake up made of quartz tomorrow, but there is also an aspect of us which is also distinctly crystalline, and that pertains to our frequency and our vibration. Think of when you hold a piece of quartz. When I hold my crystal skull, it's like, oh, isn't that pure and clear and beautiful, and it refracts light. Whatever comes into this crystal is amplified 1,000-fold, and that essentially is beginning to become a reality for many of us. We are receiving energies, and we're beginning to become very capable of radiating those frequencies and those energies, but that can only happen when we are clean and clear and as pure as we possibly can be under the current circumstances. And if you think about it on a realistic level, we really are up against it. We've got the EMS, we've got the nonsense going on in the sky, we've got the tampering of the food system, we've got the continual stress. And stress is a big one. Stress is the largest. You know, you wake up in the morning, you're feeling good, you've done your meditations, your grounding, your mantras, whatever, and all of a sudden the postman drops a brown letter on your doorstep and everything gets torpedoed. Obviously that's down to us how we handle that, but the environment is designed at this present moment to be as triggering as possible. It has to evolve, it has to change, it will change. But at the moment, we're caught up in the thick of it, and we're dealing with this as we go. It's honing us and training us and shaping us to be in complete control of our internal environment. So as within, so without, allowing only a percentage of what we used to get triggered and affected by to actually pass into our systems and have that power over us, to have that effect. And it is a tough part of the Ascension pathway. When we're looking at it from a human perspective, being human at this moment in time is incredibly challenging for all of us, regardless of whether you are spiritually orientated, spiritually knowledgeable. There's so many millions and millions of people on this world that have been triggered awake now. Okay, there's this wildfire of rising frequency has gone around the world. Diana was saying on last Saturday, that we've hit that 60% mark, and although I predicted that it would benchmark or plateau for a period of time, it's now done that, and it's continuing to rise even further. It's almost, even if we wanted to stop this process, if we wanted to pause it or create a little bit of a lull in the proceedings, that is just simply not going to happen. Consciousness and the awakening process is no longer an external job, it's an internal fire that is spreading amongst absolutely everybody. And so in many cases that catching up process, we've moved on from that, and we're moving up further, we're moving up higher, we're forging on regardless of the circumstances that we're seeing, sensing, feeling and witnessing around us. And like I said in my last video, I'm actually genuinely excited about what next year brings. I really am, because I think we're going to see some of the most the most extravagant displays of spirit in action around us. We've seen it all year. I mean, this, if you take your personal tests and your processes out of this year and simply look at it as a year from an evolution and a productivity viewpoint, you will see very clearly just how far we've come from January, and we're not even into December yet. I'm sat in front of my iPhone talking to all of you beautiful souls, and it's just at the very, very end of November. Incredible month, incredible year. Some of the most memorable things that I've witnessed and seen happen in the field have happened in 2025. And so I think, to conclude, there's a huge amount of beauty in the deep, the really deep, sort of almost troubled work that we do, when we have to go in deep, when we pull those emotions out, when we witness the aspects of ourselves that we have never been comfortable with. We want to hide them from others, we want to hide them from ourselves, we want to pretend that they're not part of us, but they are, and they are coming out. They've been witnessed, and they're being witnessed now by beings who love us dearly, both in physical and non-physical. It's okay to be human. That's one of the coolest things that I've learned this year, is that it's okay, it's actually cool to be a human being, despite the fact that we've designed ourselves on this ascension pathway to be wanting to be angels, wanting to be dragons, wanting to be back in Atlantis. The place to be is here, in the here and now. And when we begin to actually navigate into that space, when we realize that, when we accept it and we accept ourselves, that's when the real fun begins. We can't be outsourcing our joy and our entertainment, our love, to exterior sources anymore. It has to come from within. This is what the journey, the seeking the pathway of joy. When beloved Mary said that to me in January, I thought she meant something different, because you can never know what the true meaning of these higher souls actually is until you've been through the process and you can actually understand the clarity of the words. So just to remind, or maybe to refresh the memory of those that may or may not have heard this, at the beginning of the year, in my very first video, I was out in the woods and I was walking with beloved Mary, Mother of Jesus. She was saying, your joy is a birthright. This is going to be a tough and challenging year. We knew that anyway as we walked into it. But she said, joy is your birthright, and it is what you seek, and it will be one of your highest targets, but you will have to work for it. I can remember those words very clearly. She said, you will experience joy, but you are going to have to work for it. And I know exactly what she means now, because you cannot truly experience that deep joy, that almost job satisfaction, so to speak, until you have dived in, done the work, got yourself as diamond clear as you possibly can be under the circumstances, and knowing that there's more work to do, and then proceed onwards. And that's where the true joy is found. The true joy is found in love, connection, being human, being here on planet Earth, appreciating even the smallest, the good things, and coming together, whether it's online, whether it's in physical. Although there's been such a beautiful vibration that's growing amongst the light community, of that you can't top that physical coming together. And I feel that we're going to be needing it more and more next year. So on that note, my lovelies, I'm actually very happy that I came out here and sat in the sun, and yeah, beautiful day. Sending you all so much love. I will be back on Monday with a Meditation Monday. Take a little peek underneath for the two events that I've got coming up. I've got one coming up on the 9th of December, which is working with beloved Archangel Shamuel, and then I've got the final Sunday Night Ascension Club for 2025 on the 14th of December, and that's going to be about crystals and crystal transmissions. Love you all very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.